Hello, everyone. Just waiting for people to come. I know I'm a couple minutes early, so I don't know what my computer is doing at this second. If you're here, say something in the chat. Let's So, welcome. Today I'm going to do some reincarnation card readings. So, if you would like one, please get a past life you would like to remember or know about right now. So, basically, I am going to be doing this for the people that show up today. I decided to do this as my coming back kind of thing. So my next live will be will be one of the medicine wheel the next part of the medicine wheel, which I will announce later on. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I'll put that there in in a future live. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to start doing this every other Saturday around the same time, 11. And I've start working on my stuff. So thank you for the like. I just I went through a lot of integration work and shadow work in the last couple months, plus losing loved ones on top of it. So that was really hard for me. So I'm just kind of getting back into things again. And if you would like me to do a reincarnation card reading for you, just say something in the chat and get your lifetime that you would like to know about going on. So I'm just gonna finish organizing some stuff real quick while I wait for others to pop on here. Hi, Katie. Thank you for coming. Things are well. How are you today? So basically what it is the reincarnation cards. It gives you the occupation that you were in that lifetime. It gives you the culture that you lived in, the environment you lived in, the theme of your lifetime, and what ended that lifetime. So and it's pretty intricate in the way it's done. So things can get deep, and it's best for me to read from the book for the meaning of each card. So then that way you can get a better feeling for what that lifetime is like, because it has some very detailed descriptions. So it looks like I have two here. Katie, I guess I could get started with you right now. Like I did, also each card has a number. So I like to total, I don't know if you can see that, total my numbers that I get for my card readings. And like my very last lifetime, which was my first reading that I did for myself, was my occupation. I was a mother. The environment or cult is the other term for it. Would be Celtic. So I was a Celtic mother. The environment I lived in was a town. The theme was freedom and servitude. And then what ended my life that last lifetime was an attack. They say that like birthmarks and stuff usually show like how you die basically. I have my birthmarks very faint, but it's like right here in the middle of my forehead. And then on the full moon, I did my second one for my first time here on Earth. My occupation was health, like healing, and that this is just to give you guys examples. The cult or type of people would be Central America, but it also ties into Atlantis as well. So that was Atlantean. The environment that I lived in was the forest. So I lived outside of the village. My theme was justice and injustice. And the way I ended my life was an accident. So I could have fell from a cliff, or like say I was climbing a tree to get some food or something, and I fell out of the tree and I was dead. So I like to use numerology when I break down the numbers. By the time I end, get my total of my reincarnation cards, just to get an idea of what my part of my purpose was that lifetime. So we can get started. If you would like one, Katie, just say yes in the chat. I know Nadine said she was going to come, so I'm hoping she still chooses to come, but she could be busy with her session that she has too. So I'll go ahead and get you started, Katie. Get the lifetime, like first, second, third, fourth, whatever lifetime you want to know about, or even the last incarnation before this one. Get that into your mind. And these are pretty accurate for sure. From doing my astrology stuff with Nadine and figuring out my chart, it has definitely fell in sync with each other. So I'm going to pull your occupation card, Katie. And this is the one that wants to come out. You were in the military. The number on the card is 3. And what it has to say is warrior, male or female, Not once, but many times, history and prehistory are full of occasions when, by either choice or necessity, you have taken up weapons to defend or attack. Much blood has been shed, both by your projected personality and by others wounded or slain by him or her. As a member of the military group of any kind, you may have experienced a sense of shared purpose of the team focus on common goal. This requires discipline, courage, commitment, all useful life skills that may be available to you now in your current apparent embodiment. One lesson you have surely learned is that violence and aggression is rarely the best way to achieve your purpose. Only when driven to it as a last resort should arms be taken up against others. And even then, it may be considered wiser and more noble simply to look on the legion's thunder pass, then plunge in thought again. There is no question of right or wrong in all of this. What is important for you is now to recall such bloody episodes, and by recalling them in all their shocking detail, to realize that however vivid they may have seemed, your illogical mind, at times they are ultimately unreal. You and those you consider to be your enemies are in reality one. There is no separateness, no individuality, no others. In the final analysis, when apparently inflicting harm on others, you were hurting only yourself. Which I could totally see that, because if you look at today's day and age and all those military people that do suffer from PTSD, it definitely, like, even though you've done a courageous act in others' eyes, ultimately it feels more so that you're hurting yourself than helping others, which can be which is more in human nature than to hurt. So we're going to go on to the culture. Or the cult culture that you lived in, the type of people you were surrounded among. They will get a little bit better picture of what the environment was like and what time frame. So as it progresses, it does definitely give you a clue better of what time frame or time period. And it does kind of go into the Akashic records. So you were among the Islamic culture. And the number on that card is 24. The spread of Islam since the death of the Holy Prophet Muhammad has embraced many countries and submerged many religious cultures. Unlike most of their faiths, Islam is an entire way of life. Its holy book, the Quran, pronounces on virtually every aspect of social intercourse. Consequently, from a Western point of view, the position of a woman in Islamic culture can be experienced as a narrow and restrictive. Your vicarious experience in Islam culture may have been a very traumatic one as a female, a slave, or both. Experiences like these leave a deep impression on the psyche that can easily resurface in a later embodiment in the form of a phobia or a particular personal characteristic. Early Islamic society steeped in violence. Islam was born in battle and spread by sword, driving the peaceful Buddhism from large parts of Asia and leaving its bloody fingerprints in the Balkans of southern Eastern Europe. Modern Western civilization, nevertheless, owes much to its preservation in Islamic society. Of many ancient literary works and philosophical treatises that had been lost to the West in the Dark Ages, during which it labored and suffered under the Roman Christian tyranny that has left its own scars on the human psyche. Even today, there is much in Islamic culture to be admired. Your selection of this card may stimulate buried memories of an incarnation of great beauty characterized by a lofty spiritual expressed in philosophy and poetry. Islam is Kanate Arabic words Muslim and Salam implies peaceful surrender to the divine will, the uttered acceptance of that which is, such an unreserved acceptance by one who has wholly and completely resigned, supported by a total faith and confidence of support by a higher power, leads to complete inner freedom and to the peace that passeth understanding. A resignation reflection in the Arabic Kali Shay Fi Yi Allah, or all things are in the hands of God. So what I'm feeling from that is maybe you were in a battle as a Muslim against the Christian or the Roman Christians, and it definitely put a hurt to you because you are definitely a kind, loving person, but that was just part of that experience that was necessary, where the lesson lied there. And I don't think you were a woman in that lifetime. I think you were a man, because women would not have been able to fight. That was just frowned upon. So now we go into the environment you lived in. So hi, other person who showed. You're welcome to pop into the chat. We're just doing reincarnation cards. And I am in the environment that Katie would have lived in for her lifetime as a warrior in Islamic times. And we have the seashore. So you lived somewhere offshore by the water. And the number on the card is 40. So let's see what the seashore, which is kind of my intuition falling into place right there, because I would think it would be closer to the, what is it, the Dead Sea right there in between Southern Europe and Northern Persia, or the northern part of Africa, Middle East section. In very ancient times, perhaps even before Homo sapiens became humans, they went through an extended period in the course of which they underwent physical evolution as a semi-aquatic species. These early primate ancestors were forced by the need to forage as well as to escape from large savage predators, to find both easily obtainable food and personally safe in the shallows of the sea. Other mammals like whales, porpoises, and dugongs are descendants from terrestrial animals that return permanently to the ocean. Still, others like the sea otters, seals, walruses, polar bears, and sea lions spend much of their lives in the sea but continue to breed on land, where they pass a large part of their time. To a somewhat lesser extent, humans, the only diving primates, only partly return to the sea. This was, however, for a long enough period between 1 and 2 million years ago, probably during the Miocene epoch, which is 23.8 to 5.3 million years ago, or even earlier. Over time, they came physically to be partly adapted to this environment, losing much of their body hair and developing webbed fingers and toes, a subcutaneous fat layer, tear gland, a descendant larynx, and enlarged breasts. This early survival mode lasted until such time as it was safe to merge from the shallows completely for an essential permanent life on land. Unlike other former mammals that had migrated permanently back to the oceans, even today people enjoy restful and refreshing vacations at the seaside and swimming at the beaches, prompted by folk memory derived from forebears who, for countless millennia, passed much of their time in the shallows. Drawing this card does not necessarily suggest the incarnation in the most remote period of human evolution. It may well contain hints of embodiment of much more recent times. Many have been drawing to seashores throughout the ages. Still, the dangers faced by our very early physical progenitors were very real, such as the encountered in connection with sharks, saltwater crocodiles, and inevitably deadly poisonous sea snakes. Such experience have left their effects on your psyche at a deep level. These 11. Okay. So that is that. So you could have been by the seashore. Um, I'm thinking you were during times of war between the Romans and the Persians, which would also be Islamic, um, and fighting for the lands, possibly in the time of Constantine or prior to that, but very, very old. Um, our next card for you is your theme. The theme, like what your purpose was in that lifetime. So let's see what we have. What was your higher purpose, Katie? This is not the right one. That was how your term ended. So I'm just going to leave that there as it is. Your theme for that lifetime was abundance and penury. And the number on that one is 41. And that explains why I ended up on that page. Rich or poor, all superficial personalities share the same end. Both extremes of physical prosperity, and represented by this card, a life of plentiful materials, wealth, and one of the great need for basic of survival may be found in one incarnation immediately after the other extreme. In the previous apparent embodiment, thus, an appropriate balance is struck to help you advance in understanding the cycle, dreamlike nature of all worldly experiences. More important than the wealth of resources or the lack of them. Then, at the projected personality's command, however, is how to choose to use them. If one's fate is such as to have had the burden of wealth thus upon them, it should be considered as a trust to dispend wisely in the greater interest of all. Great wealth thus represents the correspondingly great opportunity and responsibility. One lesson to be learned is that abundance should never be either a source of pride or sought for its own sake. Such an objective on the personality part would be unworthy of you. Jesus, Ramakrishna, and the Maharshi Rama had no need for affluence, and the Buddha, although born to wealth, renounced it. These are far more worthy role models than symbols of great material wealth, like Croesus, Rockefeller, or the Rothschilds. The experience of the prudent and need to be sought after, but should always be welcome if that is what comes. A life of physical deprivation may provide an opportunity for a deeper understanding of fleeting nature of existence. Lessons to be learned include patience, humility, inner courage in the face of outer adversity. So that was the theme of that lifetime, and that totally makes sense being in the military. Your term or termination of that lifetime was attack, and the number on the card is 57. So you were attacked. That kind of makes sense coming to be from your occupation being at the military. This card appears to suggest sudden, deliberate termination of hands of another human being. It means extend far beyond this to include as well as violent termination of an incarnation caused by another living creature. One may have succumbed to an attack by a predator such as a shark or crocodile during a semi-aquatic period of evolution, a gigantic cave bear, a saber-toothed cat, a dire wolf, a mammoth, or even earlier, a Tyrannosaurus rex or a velociraptor. Death due to snakebite is also not uncommon. Sea snakes are inevitably poisonous and would have been particularly dangerous during a semi-aquatic apparent incarnation. As are many terrestrial species, the very common fear of snakes is often a phobia is subconsciously induced by such a memory. The attack category might also include death due to the welfare, but there are reasons for treating war as a separate category of experience. The sudden, usually shocking at the end of an apparent incarnation through an act of violence may generate strong emotions that leave pronounced scars on the psyche. These feelings, when regarded with detachment, thereby release, and can be a gateway to understanding more fully your true nature of as an infinite cosmic mind. And that is the reading for whichever lifetime you chose on there, Katie. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add them all up to see what number we come up with. And kind of give you an outline of the a further detail of that theme. So I came up with 165 if you want to look that up in gematria and see what that comes up as. I'm not that good with the gematria thing, so Faye may be able to help with that. If you add 1 plus 6 plus 5, that's 12, so that's 4. And numerology, just the basic numerology. If I go here, so I'm feeling it would be under destiny. So 4. The four-sided square is a symbol of this number, and you will prove it in everything you do. The square block is the foundation of all things, and that is the course you will take, building everything from a firm, logical, and lasting foundation. So basically, this lifetime was the foundation for future lifetimes from that lifetime. So what you got in course of that lifetime helped you build a foundation of how you want to carry yourself in future lifetimes. Would anybody else like me to do theirs? Is there a lifetime that they're inquiring about or would like to know more about? I do have time to do one more if someone would choose, or if they would like to do so. Katie, thank you for coming and giving me the opportunity to do this. Otherwise, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. But I just thought that these were interesting. And when I start a Patreon, I'm planning on starting a Patreon. I will offer that in my Patreon. And then basically coming soon to my website, I started making my own essential oils. This one is Midnight Flora. It has hints of sandalwood, lang lang, patchouli, frankincense, and myrrh are the essential oils that are incorporated in that one. I still have yet to make the labels for the other ones. And I'm calling this one Sunshine Bliss. And it has jasmine and jasmine, mugwort, lavender, and lemon in it, with some hint of pine. And it's kind of a more sweet smelling. I tested the other one between me and a friend. With me, it smells more floral. My friend, it smells like cherries. It's kind of cool. That's what I love about essential oils. They smell differently on different people. But if nobody has any questions, I am going to call it. Thank you all for coming, and have a beautiful day, sending healing love and light to the world.